Thanks for joining me for more MLG recasts between EGIdrA versus MC here on IC Cup Test Bug. MC asking, are you angry? EGIdrA, why would I be angry? Zerg isn't supposed to beat Protoss. Cool, GG, MC says. So EGIdrA may be a little bit mad. MC has beaten him 3 times in a row, but to be fair, EGIdrA beat him twice in a row in the pool play, which put MC at a lower seed, so he actually had to fight through the lower pool, the lower bracket of MLG Columbus. So, you know, what goes around comes around. MC has taken the last 3 games. He held off 2 all-ins out of EGIdrA, and then rushed EGIdrA, well, not really rushed. I guess he cheesed. He cheesed EGIdrA on Tal'Darim Altar by blocking the gap between the natural and the expansion with pylons, and then cannoning behind it. Now that, of course, is not possible here on TestBug because of these supply depots that are placed on many of the MLG maps, all of them actually except for Tal'Darim, very oddly, and MC taking advantage of that. So EGIdrA has spawned in here as the blue Zerg on the 3 o'clock position here on TestBug, and oGsMC has spawned as the red Protoss in the 7 o'clock position here on TestBug. EGIdrA sending his Overlord in the correct direction, so he's going to get some scouting information out of that. He's going to see a gateway up at the top of the ramp, so he knows it's not some type of Forge Fast Expand, which I'm not sure would really work out here. This natural has a large area to cover, though it is all on a straight line, which is nice for, like, a cannon can literally guard the entire, can shoot a Zergling anywhere along this line, which can be really good. And it looks like EGIdrA dancing around with MC over here, and does manage to get his hatchery down in the position he wants it, so very well done by him. Spawning pool finishing up just now for EGIdrA, so he managed to get his hatchery down before his spawning pool finished, which is always a good position for a Zerg when they're being denied that expansion by the Protoss. And then in the meantime, a Zeal has come down the ramp. A Cybernetics core is building up there, and the Zeal will form a nice little wall off here at the top of the ramp for MC. Now, EGIdrA is fighting for survival here. If he does not win this game, he is out of MLG Columbus 2011. And MC will advance to whoever wins in the Losira versus MMA in the upper bracket. And looks like it's just sending 6 Zerglings, so it's kind of interesting. 6 Zerglings across the map to put a little bit of pressure on. I guess he sees that 2 Zeals are out, which could snowball into a whole 3 Zeals, which would be able to carve up those Zerglings as they ran across the map, after they ran across the map. And MC's probe, which was probably going to drop a pylon somewhere, does get picked off. Maybe it was just going for some scouting information. EGIdrA has his expansion down. He is getting a 2nd queen, which we'll be finishing up here in just a moment. So he will have 2 queens and just droning up as much as he can, transferring 3 drones over to the expansion, 1 finishing there, so up to 4 drones on the expansion. In the meantime, MC is at 2 Zeals and a Stalker. He's knocking down this lowered supply depot so he can build buildings where he wants them. That is his plan currently. And down it goes. And now he's going to move out and just shark around for a little bit of map control. Try and pick off any Zerglings that are out on the field that don't have speed yet. Zerglings without speed can easily be stomped on by Stalkers. So 1 drone is actually left on the gas after that. And EGIdrA is just Spinishiwaing with, well, no, yeah, I guess it's not Spinishiwa since he picked up Zergling speed. But you know what I mean. He is just straight droning like crazy, as much as he can, and he is just now catching up to MC's droning. And it looks like he's taking a really fast 3rd. And it's not the 3rd on the way to the Protoss player's base, which is a good idea. You want to build your expansions away from the Protoss player. So this is the only gold base he can actually take that is not close to the Protoss. So that is why he is fighting this one. And MC is picking up his expansion. He has a pretty good Sim City going on right here. I believe you can walk out maybe right there, and then this big wide gap over here and looks like right there too. Kind of interesting positioning there. EGIdrA creep tumoring his way towards the front. And he's going to slowly creep his way across to the third. Now, EGIdrA did drop this hatchery a little bit. No, I guess it's actually within range. I don't know, that's really weird. I'm not sure if it actually denies any type of position as far as closeness of being able to drop your hatchery. I think it just denies you from being able to mine all but 2 of the rich mineral fields if you don't knock it down. Kinda interesting there. Yeah, I think it just denies mining capabilities. So, this probe trying to get out and see what's going on out in the big old wide world, and EGIdRA's Zerglings don't like that idea, so they kill it. Now, MC doesn't know that EGIdRA has picked up a fast third, and here comes his signature Void Ray, which is actually there to try and stop the third and stop any type of pressure. MC tickling those Zerglings, getting 3 of them to half HP. In the meantime, EGIdRA looks like he's going to work on these destructible rocks that allow access to the Xel'Naga Tower over here by MC. And this Void Ray is going to go Overlord hunting. Is going to be able to pick off this Void Ray for the cost of its shields, and then it's going to back up. This Queen tickling it, and there is actually a Spore Crawler out here at the third, so now MC knows that there's a third base up. It has 2 Queens and 2 Spore Crawlers guarding it, so it is very well protected. EGIdrA, of course, knowing that MC was going to build a Void Ray to try and deny the third, which is why he dropped it so fast and then got air defense. So really good call by him. Roach Speed and a Hydra Den going out on the field here. MC up to 2 Void Rays and a Phoenix. But there are 5 Queens on the field. So I'm not sure how well he's going to be able to pressure with that. And these 2 Phoenixes are just kind of flying around, getting as much sight as they can. And MC is going to work on denying gases now, because if he denies the extractors and the gas harvested from them, he's going to actually be able to limit the Hydra count quite a bit and make this harass effective longer into the game. MC trying to micro this Void Ray as much as possible, picking off a second Queen and now a third Queen. And there's a Phoenix tanking this Spore Crawler. And now both of these Void Rays are fully charged. One Void Ray almost goes down, so close. And now Hydras have hit the field, and it's going to kill that one Void Ray. And then it's going to get lifted off. And EGIdRA's Extractor is going to be denied again. Another Hydra being lifted up. Another Hydra being lifted up. So 3 Hydras and 3 Queens being picked off so far. A Spore Crawler, no, a Extractor being picked off as well. 2 Extractors. He did not cancel that second one. So pretty good damage out of MC. Picking off 1, 2, and now he's out of energy to lift off Hydras, so he's actually going to have to leave unless they would have been able to pick off the rest of those fairly easily. MC up to 5 sentries and 6 stalkers as pretty much his standing army that is in air. And very well saturated on his second base, actually. Like, extremely oversaturated. And he's actually... he might be light in his main. Yeah, he's light by like 6 probes in his main. And he's over by like 8 in his natural at least. More than that. Yeah, he's over by that many in his natural almost. And we have an engagement here. Hydras and Roaches going to work on MC. Great force fields out, segmenting that army as much as possible. Phoenix is flying, lifting off as many of the Hydras and picking them off as they can. Hydras, of course, light units, so they take bonus damage from those Phoenixes. So as long as they have the energy, Phoenix are almost as 1-for-1 versus Hydraless, depending on how many of them you lift off at once, of course. And here's the Colossus out on the field, and it is going to force back EGIdRA's army. It does not have the range upgrade, though. Another Hydralisks being picked off, and some Void Rays dying, or I'm sorry, some Phoenixes dying unnecessarily. And these Void Rays driving back the Roaches, another Hydra picked off, and MC holding that very convincingly. He's at almost the exact same supply, there we go, of the Zerg player, which is a fantastic position for a Protoss to be in. You want to be at the same supply all the way up to 200, and then you just want to crush them with a 200 army right when you get there, before they can get so many bases that it becomes extremely hard to keep up with their reproduction capabilities. And EGIdrA has picked up his 4th base, and he'll probably be taking, well, he might take a 5th soon. The problem with all this vigorous expanding is it's hard to hold with just like a queen and a spore caller defending, but there is a pretty good force of Hydras out on the field, though I'm not sure I like that cost investment due to the Colossus now being present on the field. But we'll see. Looks like Colossus range has finished, another Colossus coming out onto the field, more Stalkers going down to defend this Colossus, to zone out the Roaches and Hydras as much as possible while the Colossus just do work. And MC picking up his 3rd base, which is this recessed one down here on the right, and he's building 2 cannons and 2 pylons to reinforce that. EGIdrA looks like he wants to make a push. He has jumped up ahead of MC, just pumped out a ton of units. He is at 0-0 on his upgrades though. Kind of interesting. They are researching along. Burrow is researching. Spire going up. Spore Crawler going up. Meantime, MC is walling up his 3rd base with 3 gateways with those 2 cannons, which just leaves a 2-space gap. And out here in the middle we have a little bit of an engagement. A few Roaches getting fried. And all these Hydras getting in really close, which are going to be able to do a lot of damage. Roaches flanking and actually trying to take out a Colossus. They almost get it. There it goes down. But I do not think that's enough to hold. There's very well-placed force fields here. And it looks like MC is going to have to retreat just a little bit. I feel like he could win that fight if he wanted to, but it looks like he's just trying to play super safe, keep that 3rd Colossus alive, and not lose it. Looks like EGIdrA has finished speed for his Overlords to prevent them from getting harassed as much as possible, dying to harass, I should say, as much as possible. EGIdrA is jumping back up in supply. He's at 175 again. Pumped out a lot of Roaches. This 4-base production is really good for the Zerg. There are only 5 Hydras on the field, which is good. You want to move away from Hydras as much as possible. And it looks like 36 Roaches out on the field. And it looks like, there we go, there's a little bit of a transfer going to the 3rd. I was wondering when that was going to happen. And the main is drying up a little bit for MC there, as well as for EGIdrA. 2nd of EGIdrA is pretty healthy, as he took that 3rd really fast. And now there are quite a few Corruptors out in the field to help with those Colossus. So now it will all come down to a few force field placement, trying to zone out as many of the Roaches as possible, and then keeping these Colossus zoning out the Roaches while focus firing the Corruptors, so that way the Colossus can stand tall and just wreak havoc down on the Zerg player's army. MC at +2, EGIdRA's +1/+1 just finished, which is why he just started getting aggressive. And here come all the Corruptors. Stalkers blinking back. Pretty good force field zoning out some of the Roaches, but it does look like the Colossus are all going to fall. And now EGIdRA is spitting corruption down on all the Stalkers, but there are far too many Stalkers for him to be able to hold against this. Blinking forward, MC looks like he's going to charge across the map and try and limit the Corruptor count, so that way the Colossus cannot get focused as easily in the future. Zerglings rushing out to meet these Stalkers. Zergling, Hydra, of course the combination you want versus Stalkers. And I think those Stalkers actually could have won the fight, but he's going to blink them back. There are quite a few in the red HP. It looks like 4 actually in the red HP and 1 in the yellow, so good blink Stalker micro to keep those 4 alive so far by MC. And now there are quite a few Hydras back out on the field. There are 16 compared to these. I guess there's like 20. Oh, here's reinforcements. Now there's 32 stalkers, blinking as much as possible, putting the corrupted stalkers in the back, but there's a really good arc out of the Hydras here, concave from EGIdrA. So MC is once again forced back, even though he had slightly superior numbers. He cannot fight with that good of a concave. And it looks like EGIdrA has been slightly neglecting his injections as he's fighting these big battles. The larva, the energy of the queens is pooling up pretty bad. He's now gone through and spit on all of those, and he has picked up a 5th base now to keep up that 4 base worth of production, of course, because his main is drying out some. But MC has severely lowered the gap between the two players. It was like 170 to 120, and now it's 184 to 167. So much closer, only a 20, less than a 20 supply difference between the two players. But there's a lot of wasted, actually, what is that? 20 wasted supply in corruptors? Until a Colossus comes back out on the field, those corruptors are pretty much worthless. They can spit down on the stalkers, and they can morph into broodlords if EGIdrA goes for greater spire tech. Other than that, though, they're not really used for anything much. Infestor out on the field for EGIdrA. Looks like he did research pathogen glands, maybe. It has a lot of energy. Yeah, he did research pathogen glands. So he does have that. EGIdrA dropping some creep at what would be the 4th of MC, which is going to be held off a little bit. There's already creeped all the way to the gold. And now it is a bunch of stalkers. 57 stalkers versus 42 Hydras. And I think the Hydras would actually win that fight, depending on how perfect the blink micro is. But if you throw like 2 fungals on that army, it would be pretty difficult. And a Dark Templar going to work on the Hydra force. Lining up here, no fungals are actually able to go out because the infestors are just kind of milling around in the back. Now fungals going down, but it is a little bit too little too late. Had those fungals gone down at the beginning of the fight, I think EGIdrA would have actually very easily clinched that. But as they didn't, he didn't. Now Blinkstalker's blinking forward with +3, just ripping apart the rest of the Corruptors. Dark Templar's headed across the field here. Dark Templar, Blinkstalker, pretty potent combination. You just kind of blink forward and there we go. Take out any Overseer you see, and then the Dark Templars have free reign and they have to keep morphing Overlords into Overseers. EGIdrA calling GG there. MC takes Game 4 in MLG Columbus lower bracket round 9, which will advance him to fight whoever wins between Losira or whoever loses, I guess, between Losira and MMA, and is knocked down into the lower bracket. And then whoever wins, either MC or whoever gets knocked down, goes into the championship match against the winner of MMA versus I am Losira. There we go. Those are the letters and words I was looking for. So thank you for sticking through these 4 games here as MC rolled through EGIdrA, and EGIdrA called GG. I think he was a little mad at the beginning of this game, maybe a little on tilt, but well-played games out of both players. Very impressive play, very fun to watch. Thanks for tuning in with me. This was Lokazi casting for you. If you liked the games and the casting, go ahead and like, subscribe here on youtube.com/Lokazi, or head on over to my Justin TV if that's where you're watching these, justintv.com/Lokazi. These videos are VODs up over there, as well as, you know, if I play and I'm laddering and I'm streaming over there, those are up. I don't put those on YouTube. So those are over at my Justin TV. And then I have Lokazi.blogspot.com, there we go, which is an archive of everything I've done so far. So there is links to the CSL, which is hosted on my live stream account, which is what I used to use before Justin TV, as well as all of the games played by each race, usually by me, sometimes by my friends that I have shoutcasted there, as well as different strategies for picking up for beginners. So if you liked this, head over there, lokazi.blogspot.com, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and I will be casting the MMA vs. Losira in the upper bracket here in just a few minutes, and then we'll see who goes into the lower bracket, and then I'll cast that, whoever loses, versus MC, and then I will cast the championship games. So stick around and be ready for those. See you guys in a few